back. The 5th week we've brought you the fantasy staple, Dan and Chad on the Mac. Week 11 of the NFL season. And if you haven't heard and you don't follow us on Twitter, well...
we're doing a drinking game tonight, everybody.
Drink.
Oh, Gonna be plenty toasted tonight, Dan. They can't handle this.
Ooh, I'm
Hot, heavy action. You're already buzzed. What?
All right.
Let's just dive right into this thing. Before I got to start out, I'm going to give a quick shout out to one of the most loyal followers of this. Me and Ricky from Iowa had a bet on Kyle Rudolph versus Dustin Keller fantasy points last week, Dan, which I lost.
You did.
So Ricky gets a hard shout out to start off the podcast. I actually want to shout him out, and there's a Browns fan in Houston, which actually I'm very proud of because that's what Browns Nation. We got fans all over the country. I'm really proud of that. Just appreciate the support, guys.
And I would honestly love to see some Steelers followers out there. They're hard to find. I don't know why. Make a liar out of me. I want to see some this week.
You guys got a lot of front wagon
pitchers. Shut your whore mouth. You know it'd be the same if you guys ever won more than 3 games.
I don't think so, but let's just dive in with both fists into the wheelbarrow in last week's recap, Dan. I hate to go out there and say that I went on a limb, but I did. I pretty much tore the tree down with that Joe Flacco pick.
Yeah, you pretty much tore that entire branch down.
I mean, it was a pretty good pick. The guy had, 43 points, 4 touchdowns, and I think he led all of fantasy football last week in scoring.
It was a pretty good output, Chad. I called Stephen Ridley here. 100 yards, got a touchdown, got you 16 points. You need the points. He got them for you.
He had a good game. The New England offense is...
It's clicking.
In full swing again.
It's clicking.
Of course, for all you, less than fabulous, well-dwelling Buffalo fans, I had Ryan Fitzpatrick, who actually had 337 yards, 2 touchdowns, and what more can you say? He threw that brilliant interception at the end to lose the game. So, like I said, they were going to lose.
Hey, he still got some pretty decent points as well.
He battled hard, as Shermer would say. They battled.
Whoa.
There was some battle there.
He went to Harvard. You can't expect too much. Chad, he also called Ryan Matthews. Told you to sit him. 17 carries, 54 yards.
I don't even know what that averages out to per carry, but it's not good. Ryan Matthews is...
It's like 2.8 yards a carry. I don't know.
I also called the Pittsburgh D. They had 12 points. It wasn't the 30-burger blowout shaboom shabanigan.
I nailed that one.
You nailed that on your Stone Cold Staple. That was a good pick. I thought that was going to be a runaway game. The rain came. Roethlisberger got hurt. I heard when he went to the hospital, actually, Dan, he voluntarily gave a DNA sample and started saying, "I've never seen that girl before." But that's just a normal reaction to a hospital setting. So, but that was a What is his status for this weekend?
You are entirely too played out on this. He's actually not playing this week. He is out, which is kind of good. You know, Baltimore's going to beat him up a little bit because that offensive line.
But that seems like more of a bigger game than the Christmas, Thanksgiving Day game at Cleveland, but
hey, you gotta save them when you can.
Be interesting. All right, what do you got for stardoms this week, Dan?
Let's as you said earlier, let's dive into the stardoms. Steven Jackson coming off his first 100-yard game with a touchdown. He looked like he knocked some of that rust off his legs last week. Best game of the year against that stingy San Francisco defense, who's actually 7th against a rush. Going up against the 30th ranked rush defense in the Jets, I'd expect to see him do that again. I mean, another 100-yard game. I don't know about the touchdown, but he will get you those yards, at least 10 points.
It's a home game, so they're favored by, I think, who would ever thought the Rams would be favored over the Jets in mid-November at this point? But Darrell Richardson, actually, there are some leagues, I guess, that yards per carry factor in. And I guess he's one of the top 15 backs in that because he averages so good.
But Steven Jackson, the way he ran last week, he's going to keep those carries.
Well, it's almost like he has that protection. They don't force him in there on 3rd down. Yeah. He's fresh on 1st and 2nd down, the goal line guy. So you don't have to worry about the tread and where. You don't have to tread easy with him. But, you can find some pay dirt.
Maybe you'll find some
pay dirt. All right, my
pants filler. You got.
I'm trying to get the smell of that Jimmy John's off my hands. I smell onions. It's kind of weird, but I know Ricky actually will like this one. Reggie Bush and C.J. Spiller, Dan. I'm saying those are home run guys. This package deal on the Thursday nighter. I mean, we kind of beat up the Miami defense last week. They kind of showed you why. Chris Johnson blew up on him. So I have no doubt. C.J. Spiller, Fred Jackson's out. He's going to get 25 carries probably in that game. Chan Gailey said they're going to use him as the exclusive back It's about damn time. He should have been the exclusive back in Buffalo the whole time. I don't know what's going on there. But he's a must start. Both are must starts. Reggie Bush, likewise. Buffalo's going to have 16 touchdowns, like you said last week. I think 5.8 yards a carry. That number's just going to keep going up and up. Reggie Bush is going to break out. He laid a goose egg last week, I think. So he's going to break that. I'd start either one of those guys. You have them both. Congratulations. You're probably well on your way to a win this week.
There you go. You heard it there. I got Carson Palmer. I've had him in my NFL.com league for the past 3 weeks. He's thrown up some pretty good numbers here lately. Against teams giving up 300 yards a game in the air, he's actually averaging 330. So you can look at that this week also against New Orleans, who's got quite possibly the worst pass defense in the league. He's hasn't had a week where he's thrown more picks than touchdowns, so you're going to be in the positive points there. Just in all aspects this week, he looks like a very good player.
They're falling behind so early in games because sometimes we love him, sometimes we hate him. We really hate him now. Oakland defense is garbage. They fell behind really bad and got abused at Baltimore, and I think, what do you think is going to happen against New Orleans and Drew Brees? I don't know where that game's at. I didn't look, but that kind of leads me into my next guy. Daenerys Moore's had a touchdown 4 of the last 5 games. Was it? Yeah, 4 of the last 5. And he's averaging about 4 catches, 90 yards every week. And I'm expecting him to get that in the first half, maybe a little pay dirt there before halftime. Probably around 120 yards. I would start Hayward Bay also if you got him, where you can pick him up in the league. I mean, he's probably got 20% of leagues. He's probably still available.
Yeah, at least.
He had that stiff arm on Ed Reed last week and ran the distance.
Nobody does that to Ed Reed.
I know Al Davis was in the grave high-fiving Art Modell when he saw that, saying, I told you that kid was going to do it someday. That's a little wrong, but Dan just speared his dog with a pen.
You guys probably heard her sniffing. It's quite annoying. I'm going to move on to Stephen Ridley now.
Again. You've picked him, I think, 3 times this year.
I like him, just like you like Vic Ballard.
All
right.
Hey, Bob, you got Vic Ballard. You'll be all right.
Don't
worry about that.
Chris Johnson. I'm going to go off on a little tangent here. You guys have seen the commercials. Stephen Ridley, when he gets 20 carries, he gets 100 yards. When he gets 100 yards, he gets a touchdown. And when he gets a touchdown, you get points.
And when you get points, you get laid. And when you get laid and win, you're happy.
I wasn't even finished.
Okay.
But when you score points, you do well. So don't not score points. Stephen Ridley against the Colts D, they give up 120 yards a game on the ground, and you'd like to hear that.
Was that like when your cable goes out type for DirecTV type thing you were doing there?
I believe so, Chad.
Oh,
I believe so.
I wasn't quite following that for a second. That was pretty good. Yeah, I didn't know Bolden actually got suspended from them for performance-enhancing drugs, so he's on a 4-game suspension. Yeah. That's why he hasn't been playing. I didn't know that till this week. I didn't read that. Kind of interesting, a guy that small wants to take roids, but...
Hey, he's got little man syndrome.
I'll move on to my next guy.
Was that an or an
That was an like farmer. You gonna go to the dance this weekend?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Anyways, Cam Newton going against the worst defense. Cam 32nd against the pass. Look it up. Horrible, wretched. Ratchet. Just Cam's gonna light it up this week. Maybe not 35 points. Not no Joe Flacco points. Nothing like that. But Tampa Bay is gonna free him up. I think those passing lanes are gonna open up, so Cam's gonna be able to tuck it and run. Even though Tampa Bay is tough against the running backs, I don't know exactly what they're
gonna hold the corners on the running or the QB there.
I mean, I don't know. I think they're gonna have to try to commit to stop Steve Smith, and Greg Olsen looks like a big target this week too. If you get a chance to pick him up, then Cam will have a strong game. I mean, the game's where's it at? I think it's in Carolina too.
Oh yeah, it is.
So they're gonna win one of these. They're not gonna lose out. That team's way too talented. They have the record they have now. I thought at the onset of the year that they actually had a decent playoff caliber team, but that defense is still light years away. We've seen that. But Cam's going to have a good week this week, so start him if you got, a 2-quarterback thing going. He's the one I'd try.
Week.
Yeah, well, you're like me and you got suckered into drafting the guy.
So. What are we going to now? Still at Startem, Sitems? Sleepers.
Going to the sleepers, man.
Going to the sleepers. Bottoms up?
Bottom. What? All right.
I want Frenchie.
That was a little Penn State-ish.
Whoa!
Wow. I thought you were cleaning this up, Dan.
That was all you, bruh.
All right. This is one of my more... I feel good about this sleeper pick a little bit. James Starks, he's getting the carries back from Alex Green. Alex Green has been one of the most ineffective running backs we've seen in recent fantasy history. Other than Vic Ballard and Alex Green are going to go down in the Hall of Fame of fantasy futility together, I'm pretty sure.
I'm going to throw in Rashad Jennings there as well.
Oh, Rashad Jennings is the Hall of Fame. Like, he's the charter member.
Top tier.
Me and you, I said it when Jones-Drew went down. People are going to jump at this dude. Well, we said it actually on here, I think, a few weeks ago. People are going to jump at this guy. Garbage. Hasn't done a dang thing,
24 carries, 51 yards.
But James Starks is finally... He had, I think it was a hip problem. He had some kind of knee issue or hip issue at the beginning of the year that slowed him down. So he might have been the starter when Benson went down, but now Starks has taken the starting job back. He had 17 carries before the bye week against Arizona for Green Bay. And Detroit, they're not the best rush defense. They usually are pretty strong, but I'm surprised they didn't make this Thanksgiving game. But I still think James Starks gets some pay dirt because Green Bay is always down there in the red zone sniffing. They're sniffing that pay dirt. And... I'm just going out. I mean, there's really not a great reason to start Starks. It's just if you need a running back on buys, like if you have an Adrian Peterson, somebody like that, and you can't find anybody else, you're either probably down to Marcel Reese or James Starks. And after what Reese did last week and he's projected this week, he's up to like 15, 20% ownership. If you can't get him, get Starks, only 5% owned.
All right, moving on. Denario Alexander. I had him last week listed, but he didn't make the cut. Obviously, he should have. He's still only owned in less than 2% of leagues. After last week's put out, he had 5 receptions, 134 yards, and a touchdown. He's listed as a starter this week, so...
Yeah, they finally gave him the starting job behind Malcolm Floyd. The kid came on strong.
After 2 weeks, he's averaging 9.7 points a game. Pick him up, he's a solid receiver. He's going to be a starter, and he's also going to get the looks.
Was he practice squad guy at the beginning of the year, or where did he come? Because he had no reps, and I don't even know if he dressed.
No, he hasn't. He's only been dressing for the last 3 or 4 weeks, I believe.
I never heard of him, but he looked really good on that touchdown. I told you last week. Should have started him and my next guy, Donald YSU Jones, the former Penguin. He's had a touchdown 2 weeks in a row. Only owned in, I believe, 2% of all leagues. So you can get him if you need a wide receiver. He's got deep burner. He's a burner. He's one of those deep threat guys you got to watch out for. And Miami gives up 295 yards per game receiving. So there's a reason right there to go after him. They're going to look for him. TJ Graham, the other rookie, they don't go to him as often. Donald Jones has turned into a primary target now with whatever the hell is going on in Buffalo. I don't keep up with your trashy football team, but...
Yeah, we heard about that last week.
I'm putting a staple in Donald Jones getting a touchdown 3 weeks in a row.
For all the staples? Or just a staple?
I'm putting all the staples in the middle of the table and the stapler, and I'm calling it out. Donald Jones. Pick him up.
You heard it. Brandon Stokely last week scored a touchdown. Him and Peyton Manning have some kind of connection, ESPN or something like that.
The old white guy syndrome.
Yeah, it's got to be that.
You know where Stokely went to college?
Do you know?
Louisiana Lafayette.
There you go. This guy.
You remember him in the Super Bowl in 2000? He caught the touchdown.
I do remember that. Just if you ever want to give this kid some trivia, ask him about the first round number 1 picks in the NFL.
I can go back. I can go way back.
He won't even Google it. He'll just tell you. Stokely only owned in 12% of leagues. Like I said, him and Peyton Manning, they got some connection up there. He's going to be good for... Kind of scared me there, Chad.
Oh.
He's going to be good for looks. Manning can spread it around. We know that. I am out of...
It's all right.
Right now.
It's just...
He's averaging 6.6 points per game. And you can't argue that that's a semi-decent impact when you're looking at fantasy football, and especially if you're in a deeper league.
He took all the reps off Decker last week. It's one of their... Peyton's never been a lock-in guy. I mean, he used to lock into Harrison a lot, but he's never been the guy. He's always been a spread-it-apart guy. Sprinkle here, sprinkle there. The pumpkin patch grows that way better. So that's where he comes into play with these guys like Stokely. And that's why Demaryius Thomas some weeks is, 160 yards receiving one week and then 30 the next. So
Who's your next one, Chad?
My next one is Chris Ivory. And you can probably get him. He's up to 7.5%, I think, in all leagues. So 7 yards a carry. That's why I'm going. But New Orleans, they can't not start this guy and start giving him more carries. Pierre Thomas is garbage. We've always known that. Darren Sproles seems to be bitten by the injury bug as of late, so I don't know if he's 100%, but I don't think they're going to give him as many reps as normal. So it seems like Ingram and Ivory. I'm not seeing it with Ingram anymore.
I
but
drafted
Ivory,
Ingram. That's been a pleasant disappointment. By pleasant, I mean it sucks.
That's a definite backfield by committee, but I mean Ivory's a guy that he should have been there from the start, perhaps. I don't know. Just he's looked so strong, but long runs. I mean, last week he had that one long run, and then the rest of the game he didn't do much. But as a whole, 7 yards a carry, and they're playing a team in Oakland that's given up the third most rushing touchdowns this whole season. So that's gonna be a firework game, I think.
We'll see what happens.
If you need a running back, the bye week blues, like I said, pick him up, give him a look.
Moving on, we're going to Sitems, the guys that you probably shouldn't play. I'm starting you off with Frank Gore. He's playing against the Bears, 4th-ranked rush defense in the league. They only give up 92 yards a game. And Frank Gore himself, he's only topped 100 yards 3 times. Jeez. And that's not the production you want for somebody like Frank Gore.
First-round pick for a lot of people.
Yeah. In the 3 games that he's got that 100 yards, has been against teams who actually give up an average of 100 yards a game. So sit Gore if you have other options. I mean, he's not a strong play this week. To me, it'd be a sit, especially if you could pick somebody up like Chris Ivory. So
I'd go Ivory over Gore this week, perhaps. I mean, on paper, if you want to play the name game and lose games, then go ahead. Yeah. But if you want stat-wise and smart play-wise, it's all about matchups. We said that all along. That's why my first guy to sit, Torrey Smith, blew it up last week. This week going against this shit right here. And they are very, very stout against the pass. They have only allowed 149 receptions all year, which is not – that's like 10 less than the next best team. So, and Torrey Smith's not a guy that hauls in very many receptions, so I just don't even think he gets the ball 3 times this week. Don't expect him to beat Ryan Clark deep. It's not happening matchup-wise. Just sit him on the bench. There's a lot of other good – Cecil Shorts is probably out there. A lot of better, smarter plays matchup-wise I would go with other than Torrey Smith.
Also staying in that same game, Joe Flacco. You're going to want to sit him also. Pittsburgh, they only allow 16 receptions a game, and the league best, as he said, 171 yards a game through the air. Easy sit if you just look at everything that's in front of you, everything we're telling you.
Smart.
We don't make this up.
Smart wise. We do in-depth analysis research.
We do.
Anyways, my next guy is... We're not big on the tight ends as it is, but Jermaine Gresham, definitely a guy you want to sit. Kansas City, believe it or not, Dan, it's only getting up 2 receiving touchdowns to tight ends all year.
That's impressive.
And you saw they held Heath Miller to only 40 yards last week, which I needed more production from him to beat this dude. That's another story for another time. But keep Gresham on the bench. He's not going to see even 50 yards this week against Kansas City.
And continuing on that track, I got Darren McFadden. I want you to sit him this week. I actually have him in one league. I'm going to sit him. I'm actually going with this kid's pick, Chris Ivory. I picked him up because, well, he's available because only 7.5% of people own him. McFadden, he's averaging 3.3 yards a carry and only 57 yards a game. Only 2 TDs on the year, which is quite a surprise, especially how highly he was touted before the year started. And if they get behind early, he's going to be a non-factor on the ground with Carson Palmer slinging the ball around. And also, rumor has it, he's actually iffy for the start this week. So,
yeah,
I'd sit him.
He's not healthy, even if he does play. He's probably going to be limited to, I don't know, who knows how many reps he'll get. So, my next guy is Willis McGahee, going to San Diego, the number 2 rush defense in the league. Only allowed 4 touchdowns all year. I don't see that game being a run game. I see it being a Peyton Manning versus Phillip Rivers. Whip your balls out and see who's got the biggest kahunas match. A lot of pay dirt going around. So watch out for that. As John Matt would say, boom! There's going to be a lot of passing in the end zone in that game. Unlike Brandon Whedon, they actually throw the ball into the end zone in that game. There's going to be a lot of that. So I'm sitting Willis McGahee. He's not going to have good.
To everybody's, it's everybody's second favorite segment in the Fantasy Staple.
We can't do everybody's favorite segment. This
I
week
know
he's on a bye,
he's
so
not
we
by.
got to do
Everybody
some
knows
shout-outs at the end, I
Tennessee
guess.
is gone. No Chris Johnson fantasy tracker. We'll just throw that out there so we don't have to wait. Stone Cold Staples. It's where we both pick 2 games.
We're both 5-3 on the year.
We are. I made a close the gap a little bit last week because I went.
I didn't know we were competing, but all right.
I thought we were. Why else?
No,
would we
we're
keeping a record?
going for a combined record to be have a 75 or an 80 winning percentage for the podcast.
Acceptable. But we're both
It's
5
a group
and 3.
effort. We're helping your gambling addiction, America.
That's what we're here for. If we had the money, we'd gamble.
To start out, I'm not going to leave you guys high and dry on the Thursday nighter, so I'm saying right here, take Miami and the 2 points on the road against Buffalo, because Buffalo cannot stop the run. They really can't stop the pass. That's why they get in these high-scoring matches. That's a really good offensive team. They would have a really decent record if they had a halfway legit defense, which they do not. 16 touchdowns. The next worst team is 12, and that's just abysmal. Reggie Bush is going to see. Daniel Thomas might even find the end zone in this game. Might even see some pay dirt from Daniel Thomas. And my second one, I was surprised at this. It's because of only recent play. Philadelphia's getting 3.5 points at Washington, which Philly's not going to lose this many games in a row. They've lost, I think, 4 in a row.
You never know, man.
Even if they start Nick Foles, I'm taking him because Washington can't stop. My grandpa could run for 4 touchdowns against Washington if you gave him enough carries.
I would actually like to see that.
He's 86 years old. Goshen High School running back in 1947.
Goshen had a high school back then?
Yes, they did, before West Branch.
Wow.
Look it up.
All right.
He was the man before World War II.
Whoa. Myself, I'm taking Indianapolis. They're getting 9 points against New England. I know most of you are like, oh, you're crazy. New England's so good. But Indianapolis has actually been playing real well. Andrew Luck, he's playing like a freaking MVP right now.
They're playing like their coach is dying or something.
I know, that's weird.
Go figure that.
Shaved their head, too. That's kind of odd.
Except for the dreads.
Oh, dude, that was effed up. If you haven't seen that picture, check it out on Twitter.
Wait, did anybody see Brandon Marshall's picture today? I'll have to show that us at the end.
I don't know about that. And also, Tampa Bay is getting 1.5 from Carolina Panthers. I don't understand that. But I'm taking the points with Tampa Bay. So Indianapolis +9 and Tampa Bay.
I don't know if they can see that. Look, that's Brandon Marshall tweeted that today. There's definitely a naked dude in the background.
So
is that Penn State or is that
gay?
Chicago.
And if you don't know, this is the Fantasy Staple. Dan and Chad on the Mag. Follow us on Twitter. We don't have any friends on Facebook, so that's why our Facebook page is going off the charts. It's really not. We have 1 like.
Dude, just hit us up on Twitter. We live on Twitter anyway.
Yeah.
If you need some help with your picks, you can ask me on the Elf. But if you're on the Elf, you can ask the Staple. You know we're always here for you. I'm always here for you guys. And
you Elf guys, follow the Staple.
The Elf guys are the best guys. The Staple needs some support.
Like I said,
it's still young.
Steelers fans, we need you. I'm getting bombarded here.
Like I said, though, my Browns Nation is a whole countrywide global thing. There's Browns fans in Japan and
there's Browns
fans in Africa. They don't even have TVs. Dude.
Took a dump at the toilet.
That's why I want to give a shout out. I want to give a shout out to some more of them. Not only the ones I mentioned previously, but Browns Till Death, like that on Twitter. Find them, follow them, and what else? Also, Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh.com. You got to gear up for this Pittsburgh game. The hottest tees. I'm going to be wearing one next podcast. Love those guys up there. They're doing great things for that clothing company. And also, who else did I want? Oh, yeah, Dan Esway, if he's actually going to watch this. Browns fan. Josh Cribbs' roommate in college. You didn't know that, did you?
Who? Esway?
Esway. Elway, yeah.
He made that up.
He said all Josh Cribbs used to do was sit in a rocking chair and play Madden on Sundays.
I think Esway makes things up.
I don't
Prove
know.
me wrong.
I think he was Four Loko bonging.
Anyways, Dan and Chad on the Mac, the Fantasy Staple. You hear it here first. We know what we're doing. We spend many, many hours.
Many moons are spent under pen.
I hope you like the intro, too. I spent a lot of time on that. Well, guess we're out.
See you next week, everybody. Browns Nation. Doing it big, bacon style. Eat apples.
Chocolate milk.